Hello, my fellow seekers. Welcome to Into the Work, therapy for empaths, seekers, and the intuitively driven, where you have front row seats to therapy sessions and expert interviews that will help you define the important work that you're here to do. So I guess you actually have something better than front row seats. You practically have a seat on my couch. That's right, you will have unrestricted access to actual sessions with real people, exploring real life issues. You will continue to be inspired by powerful conversations with experts and healers that might just share exactly what it is that you need to hear to get unstuck. I am Michelle Pauverman. I am a recovering people pleaser and former anxiety-driven empath, turned now mostly grounded psychotherapist and intuitive coach. I have been helping people for almost 20 years manage their limiting beliefs and anxiety to finally stop the self-sabotage and step into their gifts. I created this podcast, Into the Work, to give you a place to learn more about yourself and give you actionable strategies to finally move those roadblocks holding you back so you can go for what you want. Above all else, my hope is that this podcast is a catalyst for your awakening. If you're listening, you've already taken a step towards getting off of autopilot, and our next steps together will be taken episode by episode, waking you up to the possibilities, the new ways of thinking and being, so that you can stretch into that next level of your story. The spark has already been lit, and my friend, this is a journey from spark to brilliance. So together, let's light a fire. Hey there, I am on a mission today. And today, my mission is to help you stop feeling drained. Empaths tend to feel drained. It's one of the defaults that we have in us when we're not taking care of ourselves. And so if you feel burnt out, drained, or you ever have before, this is a crucial, very important episode for you to listen to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about 5 crucial action steps for you to feel more magical again. And I do believe that you are a magical being. As an empath, sensitive human, seeker of wisdom type, you are magical. And when we are in our heightened state with a high vibration, we are intuitive, are psychic, we are experiencing all the things of life, and we're here to be of service. We have a mission here. And part of our fuel and part of us that makes us joyful and happy is when we feel sort of magical and connected. But when we are exhausted and drained, we are not fulfilling our purpose. In fact, a lot of people that I meet with that are not doing well are basically sitting in a puddle of untapped potential. And I really believe that if you can listen to this today and practice some of these things, you can really make a shift in your life for the better. So here we go. Okay, you ready? The first one is energy management. Now, I realize that managing your energy is likely, if you're listening to this podcast, you've probably done some reading. It's probably not a mind blower. You probably have heard it before, but you're going to hear me say this a lot. And that is that learning is many times just remembering. And some of the deepest learning you're going to do is going to be remembering. And whether that's just remembering something that you learned in a past life, or whether it's remembering something that you kind of knew and it connected with before, but then you got busy and you pushed it down and it went away. Today, I'm here to remind you that managing your energy, my friend, is so important. So just in case you don't know, what is energy management for sensitive people, right? It's a practice of clearing and protecting your energy body. Why do we do this? Well, it's a ripple effect. First, it can be directly connected to raising your vibration, which ultimately means having more joy and open-heartedness, yay, which impacts your physical and emotional and mental health. And then it ripples out into the world as you can now fulfill your purpose as an empath to impact others and be of service. There are 4 elements to most energy management that I've ever heard of. There may be others. I'd love to hear about it if they come up with something. But what I typically teach is grounding, clearing and emptying, protecting, and refilling. So one is grounding. We got to get grounded, which means getting in the body and moving that energy downward. Secondly is clearing and emptying. And the third is protecting. So in clearing and emptying, we go ahead and we move out what doesn't belong to us and what isn't of high vibration to us. And then the protecting part is usually when we seal off our field, our energy field around us, with a visual of something of sorts. And then it's refilling. So this is especially for physical empaths, because I want to kind of do a holla out to you right now, because physical empaths tend to take on, if you don't know what that is, you tend to take on the physical feelings and experiences of other people. And I am going to shout out to this because I have been a physical empath. I am not always a physical empath. And we can really shift and change through our gifts, through our sensory experiences. One day it can be this, the other day it can be that. But when I started my business, I'm just going to plug a little story here that I think that you'll find entertaining at the least, that when I first started my business, I was starting to see new clients. And I went to the grocery store and I was standing in line, and I had had a lot of stuff going on, doing a lot more energy healing than I was used to. I was really expanding energetically in a lot of ways. And I was standing at the grocery store, and I tell you, I had the scariest experience where I suddenly felt crippled in pain. My leg felt like it was searing in pain. And I was desperate to figure out what to do in this moment. I had loaded most everything up onto the belt, and I was like, I can't stay here for this. I'm in so much pain. I literally thought I was going to throw up. I kind of bent over and was laying over the cart, thinking, oh my God, please get through this woman. I think she was writing a personal check. I was like, who does that anymore in the grocery store? And I turned around, and there was a man behind me on crutches, and he had beads of sweat going down his face. And I could tell he was in so much pain. And the second that I recognized that it wasn't mine and it was his, mine disappeared, or the pain that I was experiencing in my body disappeared. And it was my first real lesson into the importance of checking in with myself on what is mine and what is not. Because we as empaths can collect other people's stuff in so many different ways. And when you really experience that, there's really no denying it. You can listen to these things and go, oh, that's so woo-woo, I don't know. But when you actually experience it, you're like, oh yeah, no, there's no other explanation for this. It's just crazy. And in fact, actually, when I left that grocery store, I called one of my BFFs and was like, I'm closing down shop. I'm not doing this anymore. I was about to give up the whole thing. And she grounded me. And I got back into my senses and started doing energy management, which is crucial to me doing what I do in the world. And by the way, if you're going to start with your energy management habits, and we're going to talk about that, it's also really great for you to ask the question, is this mine or not? But I mention this particularly because it's really good for you to ask yes or no questions when you're just learning to go inward and work with your inner guidance and intuition. It's really wonderful for you to just ask yes or no questions. Keep it really simple. Is this mine? And then take a deep breath, ground, and listen. Yes or no. And you'll eventually start getting the answer. Okay. So you have a gift, and energy management is so important for you to practice this gift in the world and build your muscles so you're not overwhelmed. You're not an overwhelmed, burned out stress case that feels stuck and full of untapped potential, right? I often say it's like the kitchen sink. I don't know about your house, but when my dishes pile up in my sink, the whole kitchen is a total disaster. But clean the dishes, it's like a weird phenomenon, right? You clean the dishes and you put them away, and it's like the kitchen somehow like sparkles. It's like, wow, the place is so clean. Don't be a sink full of everyone's dirty dishes, okay? And how you not be a sink full of everyone else's dirty dishes is energy management. energy management has to be a habit. Okay. It's not a one-hit wonder. I mean, it can feel like that. When I first really started getting into energy management, in fact, when the first time I created my own energy management meditation that I give out to people, I cleared a cold that was coming on. I had this head full of gunk all of a sudden. I don't know if it was allergies, but I thought I was getting sick. And I did this squeegee meditation, which I created. And my friends laughed at me for it and the name of it. But, I was right there with one of them and I cleared a cold from my system within a half an hour. I wasn't blowing my nose. I felt completely better. And I thought, oh my God, it wasn't mine. It's just crazy, you guys. You really just don't even know it until you start practicing it. So energy management is a habit. I want you to think about it also like water. We're really serious about our water intake, right? So I know people that wear elastics on their wrists in order to remember how many times they have to drink 8 to 16 ounces of water, right? In order to beat dehydration, you're not drinking 1 glass of water, right? You create a daily habit of drinking. Maybe you have elastics on your wrist and you remove them every time you have a glass of water. That's the same with energy management. Okay. It's important that you understand that the most amazing results come from creating habits. So don't worry. There are lots of little ways you can put into your schedule to do quick little things. And I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to give you 3 habits that you can create really quickly. Again, you're going to have heard of them likely, but the first one is like mini meditations. I would love it if you walked away from this podcast and was like, wow, I created a meditation practice for 30 minutes a day. I'm a new person. My brain is clear. The brain fog I have is clear. My nervous system feels so good. My anxiety is down. I feel like I hit the sweet spot in meditation where I'm floating, Michelle, right? That would be amazing. But I also am living in reality. And I realize you may not walk away from this with that level of commitment. And so I want to say to you, there are ways of you doing quick and brief acts of meditation. You can spend 5 to 10 minutes simply sitting down, grounding yourself, right? Just doing a quick body scan where you just check your body, get out of your head into your body. That's so important for us empaths because that's where it's all happening, right? And so just imagine, that your whole muscles in your face relax, your arms relax, every muscle in your body, all the little tendons in the back of the neck relax. You just kind of go systematically through the body until you get to the feet. You could do something like that and then open up your heart and set an intention for the day. You can say mantras, right? You can set intentions of what you want to get from that 5 to 10 minutes. There are many people, and it doesn't matter whether you're psychic, seeker, empath, whatever, doesn't mean you automatically come with a button for meditation because you're human. You live in this world, right? We have to be here. And so being here is hard. And so a lot of you might feel like, Michelle, that's lovely, but I can't meditate. I'm just not one of those people. But what I want to say to you, I want to speak directly to you if you feel this way, that it is not meditation that's the problem. It isn't meditation that is the issue, okay? I promise you the act of meditation is not the problem. What can be uncomfortable is what comes up physically and emotionally for you when you try to sit with yourself. Because you're the full kitchen sink, right? The thing is, your current system of avoiding discomfort is causing you to miss amazing intuitive hits, incredible physical and emotional healing. If you don't know how to sit and be with your stuff and learn from it and do shadow work, right? Learn from it, embrace it, embrace all of you. You are missing out big time. You're here to learn this. You're here on this earth to do this. Perhaps begin with guided meditations, seek out instruction. I do believe that it's helpful to hand over the wheel and let someone take care of you, especially in the beginning, and then shift to sitting with yourself. But focusing on letting go of thoughts that arise, letting them come in and saying, ooh, Look at the anxiety in my body right now. Notice how your thoughts impact your body. Then just release the thoughts. You simply letting go of the thought that you're having in itself, okay? Just that simple act of letting go of that thought is creating new neurological pathways, just from a science perspective, right? From a physical perspective, you're creating new neurological pathways, new ways of experiencing things in your head, in your brain, and in your life. That simple detachment from the thought is the whole point. The point of meditation is not about not thinking. So if you think, I can't do it, I think too much, I want to shed the light, okay? See the light here, people, that meditation is about letting go of the thought. So you must have many of them in order to get good at it, okay? So I want you to notice how they impact your body, and then just return your attention to your breath. You can try incorporating this in your day for 10 minutes. Seriously, it can be that simple. You don't have to make it super complicated. And then, if you can move it up every day, because you know what's going to happen? What's going to happen is you are going to go and okay, I'm going to do this for 10 minutes. And you're going to be miserable. I think I recall when I did this, I took a class in grad school that required me to sit for 30 minutes, and I'm ADD, and I literally would get up off my chair and walk into another room and realize I did that, and I had to go sit back down. It was painful. But wow, when I tell you the transformation that happened to me by forcing myself to go sit back down over and over again, what ends up happening is you crave it. You get addicted. You're like, oh my God, when am I going to meditate today? And you just make the time for it because you can't think. It's like a high, a hit. So the second habit of energy management that I want to talk to you about is just that daily practice of grounding, clearing, and protecting your energy field. This can happen at the end of your meditation, and it can happen for 3 minutes throughout the day. It doesn't, again, have to be this really big deal. 3 minutes throughout the day, you literally stop. You could set little reminders on your phone, right? Once every couple hours, you stop, you take a moment, you take a deep breath, you push your energy into the ground, you clear out what doesn't belong to you, you clear out what isn't high vibrational, what isn't serving you right now, and then you imagine a protective field around your body. You breathe in light that fills up that protective field, a bubble, and you move on with your day. It's incredible. I tell you, it can be life-changing to do this multiple times a day, okay? It is important work for us empaths. So the reason you're sensitive to subtle energies and other people's emotions is that your energy field is slightly different. I don't know if you know this or not, you probably do. But if you don't, your energy field's more porous. That's what's kind of different about it. It leaves you feeling different. You're more susceptible to collecting energy. Picking up on the subtleties makes you a good energy healer because we pick up on the subtlety of energy. But you walk in a room and you know who's upset, you know who's not. If there's been a fight, you feel it, you know it. And you can also tend to pick up stuff that's lower vibration and doesn't belong to you. It makes you feel unwell. Right? And guess what? What really sucks is the more stressed out and tired, like let's say you've been an insomniac, right? And you haven't slept for a while. So the more tired you are, the more stressed and overwhelmed you are, the more porous and absorbent you are, okay? But not to worry. There are many creative ways to do this, but I just want you to notice that when you are stressed out and tired, just notice how your nervous system changes. How much can you tolerate? If you've got kiddos and they're running around and they're loud, it's like this, you can sometimes almost feel like you're thin-skinned. Your nervous system's fried. That is a sure sign that you need to clear and you need to get calm and reset that nervous system. So I do teach my students to try to do it. To do a clearing of, grounding, clearing, protecting, and refilling your field often. Definitely, if you can do it daily, it would be amazing. Even if you only do it a couple times a week to start, it's still something. The other quick habit, the third habit I want to mention for energy management, the routine of getting outside. Us empaths are so open to the energy of nature. I just want you to do an experiment, okay? When you feel cranky and irritable and depleted, I want you to rate those feelings with a number of 1 to 10. Like 10 being the absolute worst, you totally suck, everything sucks, you're just feeling totally overwhelmed. And 1 being I feel great, right? I want you to just label it 1 to 10. And then go spend some time outside. Set the intention to welcome the energy of the ground, the air, the trees, the sun to replenish you, okay? Setting that intention and learning to build a relationship intuitively with alive things that are outside, like trees and air and ground, that starts to build a connection between you and them that you perceive and experience as a very real thing, and your body experiences it, and your energy field experiences it as a very real thing. So I want you to breathe it all in. If it's warm enough, you can stand barefoot. That actually is true grounding. I don't know if you've heard of grounding. There's an excellent documentary on it called Grounding, or Grounded, I believe. But going outside and breathing deeply, getting grounded. And if there's a tree nearby, bonus points, because trees have huge energy fields. And if you just put your back up against a tree or feel a tree and just be near a tree, just imagine while you're standing there that your whole field is clearing around you, that the colors in your field are changing. I want you just to imagine that, okay? And then come back inside and go ahead and rate yourself again on a scale of 1 to 10. How do you feel? And just notice the shift, right? Okay, so moving forward, because I know I got a lot here. This is so important. So if you're multitasking, I want you to come back to this one because there's a lot in this podcast today, but I really want you to hear this one too. And that is eating for your nervous system. Us empaths, we have to look at food a little. I mean, everybody really should, of course, but we really do need to look at our food intake as also its impact on our nervous system, our energy system. So part of energy management is how we eat. So for better or worse, you, my friend, are likely as sensitive to the foods you digest as the energies you take in. There are definitely some of you that are listening that probably already started to question your gluten intake, your sugar intake might be causing that brain fog. The struggle can be real for us. So your nervous system has managed not only your stress, but also the emotional minefield of the general public. And it is a belief in the energy world that empaths are more prone to chronic illness and chronic pathogenic attacks, such as Lyme disease and, many others that tend to impact the nervous system. I often liken it to like an abandoned building theory. So if you take someone with a porous field, right? Those are open doors, right? Like the abandoned building. There's a porous field, so there's open doors, that is depleted energetically, which is an empty building, who lives up in their head, not in their body. That's you. Right? So live up in your head, not in your body. So the building is abandoned. And add unprocessed emotions and blocks. There's literally no neighborhood watch. So who moves in? The thugs, right? The pathogens, the underlying low energetic, low vibe stuff in our world that we as empaths can kind of take because of our porous field, okay? So our bodies need us to be present and nourished for our defenses to be up. Low vibrational foods such as sugar, caffeine, alcohol, highly processed foods lower your vibration. So when any part of your body's energy field is lowered, defenses are down. Every organ in your body has a measurable vibration. If you lower that vibration, illness moves in. So like as an energy healer, when I'm working with people, I'm literally working on doing hands-on healing or long distance, but regardless, I'm working to raise the vibration. So if there's cancer, we can measure a healthy area that's got a certain gigahertz of energy. And then we can measure a place where there's cancer and we can see that gigahertz go drastically down. And so illness moves in when we have a lower vibration. So high energy foods, whole foods, offer a high vibration for your body. When people want to open up their psychic abilities, you may not know this if you haven't done any psychic classes, but nutrition is actually one of the first steps towards clearing out blocks. So if you want to commit to your intuition and your overall well-being, nutrition actually can't be ignored. Next time you reach for another cup of coffee or another glass of wine, I want you to remind yourself of that old adage, you are borrowing from tomorrow to get through today. Just let that sit in. When you grab that glass of wine or that cup of coffee, you are borrowing from tomorrow to get through today, so you will never truly catch up if you do those things often, right? And please, no shame in the game. I love a good glass of wine, and if I could drink coffee, oh my gosh, I love coffee. But it is true, and it's something for you to think about. So moving forward, over the next week, do a little experiment, okay? I want you to eat whatever you want. Yes, whatever you want, okay? And I want you to slow down and access how you feel when you want it. Are you tired? Are you irritated? Are you happy? Are you energized? Are you anxious? Are you angry? I just simply want you to pay attention to how you feel in your body. Then over the next couple of hours after eating it, I want you to notice how it makes you feel. How does it feel 15 minutes later? How does it feel an hour later? 2 hours later? Keep tracking. Then the following week, begin to listen to your body when you make a food choice. I want you to tap in. Is this going to make me feel good? Or am I going to be tired after? How am I feeling emotionally when I'm going to eat this food? Is there something else I could do? And then come back and eat it if it doesn't make me feel better. I mean, honestly, try not to be too hard. When you begin to do intuitive eating, there's a way, it's not coming from a place of forcing, it's coming from a place of sensing and feeling. So now I want to give you one really cool little nugget that I usually teach in my classes, and I want to mention it to you in case you don't know about it. It's so very cool. And this is the sway test. I want to introduce you to the sway test if you don't know it. So, because I think you're going to love it. It's super cool. So it's a very simple form of muscle testing, aka kinesiology, where I want you just to take some food, something that you're eating or you want to eat, okay? And I want you to hold that food in your hand, and I want you to just sort of really get grounded and relax your body. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and ask yourself, is this healthy, safe, and effective for me right now? Then I want you to tell your body, forward is yes, back is no. You can even test it out by saying, show me yes, and then ask to show me no as a way you can sway forward or you could sway back. And that just kind of gives you an idea of how that is going to go. Now just wait and see if your body responds by swaying forward or backward to the food. Again, is this healthy, safe, and effective? Forward, yes. Back, no. Does nothing? That just means it's neutral. But if you sway backward, you have a choice to feed your nervous system or to tax it. Important to note, right? So the third step out of the 5, I want to just quickly tell you, is to do your boundary work. So again, remembering you're like, yes, I know I need to do boundary work. Boundary work is so important. But it's really not just about learning to say no. It's bigger than that. It's so big, actually. When you think of having better boundaries, you probably think, I need to say no more often, yeah? However, the true boundary work runs way deeper than this and allows you to heal the root causes of many of the issues that you'll be facing. And this is very important work for you, as it will help you move forward on your life purpose, right? And by the way, you have a boundary type based on how you're currently coping. And I'm going to tell you just a little bit about that today so you can walk away with that. So healthy boundaries, I want you to think of healthy boundaries are sometimes about confidently feeling free to say yes, like hell yes, kind of yes, right? Like you just have the ability to say yes. And we could go on and on about what your healthy boundaries are, but just think of that as a little nugget. When I have healthy boundaries, I feel so free to just say yes. And it's kind of like a hell yes, because I'm not restrained by my fears of, giving too much or being asked too much or saying yes because I have to, right? It's just such a different feeling. So I categorically kind of look at it that way. And then I want you to think about having inflexible boundaries. And that means that you're so rigid, like you have rigid boundaries, protective, guarded, right? Inflexible boundaries may mean you're so rigid that you are actually mentally saying no and preparing to say no to someone before they even ask their question. If you feel pretty guarded, then you may notice that you are also overly invested in the control or feeling frustrated when people don't follow the good advice you give or the directives you give them. There's a rigidity to it, and it can lead to frustration. And the other I want you to know about is chaotic and unstable boundaries. And perhaps you might fall under the unstable boundaries, right? So this means you may feel fine in some situations, but in others, you're anxious to please, overly responsible for other people's discomfort. If this sounds like you may struggle with separating from other people's feelings and opinions from your own. And disappointing others can be so painful. Both inflexible and unstable boundaries are expressions of how you manage an overwhelmed nervous system and a limiting belief system. Some people with inflexible boundaries, right, that rigidity, they think I have fantastic boundaries. I'm so boundaried. I say no all the time. And the reality is they're living stressed because there is no yes. It's not easy. There's still anxiety and there's still a white knuckling through it that does not signify a healthy boundary, right? And so getting to the root cause of what is happening depends on your awareness of your underlying beliefs about yourself, about the world that you likely formed really early on, and the habits that you created to protect yourself. That's the deep work. And when I teach this boundary work for empaths, you may have heard in the past, I've done the Empaths Boundary Bootcamp. I have an Empaths Healing Intensive coming up. But this is what we do because you need to explore not only how your current boundaries are serving you or getting in the way, but it's so much deeper going into the programming in order to truly set yourself free and just really stand in your power. So I really like to focus on those areas. I'm actually, in a few episodes from now, going to be doing a really awesome episode on boundaries that I think is going to leave you thinking a lot about how you're doing. So the fourth is raising your vibration of your home. And I just want to mention this because without a doubt, your home environment is impacting your energy system. Okay. So number 4, raising the vibration of your home. So without a doubt, I'm sure you're like, yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense, Michelle, but for real, your home environment is impacting your energy system. You begin and end your days at home. And if you now work from home and you hardly leave the house, paid or parenting, of course, that's both work, this step is way more even crucial, okay? So you are giving and receiving energy from your home every day. Problem is, so is everybody else. And if you're cooped up in a home office, you don't think about this, but even toxic coworkers on Zoom or meetings on Zoom that are exhausting, that energy is in the room. So definitely want to clear out that home office. Get out your smudge sticks. You've got a lot of clearing to do here because if you haven't cleared your home in a while, then you've got some work ahead, which is fine. It's wonderful because the before and after is going to feel so good. Lucky for you, if you are interested, I do have a handy checklist of the most impactful things you can do to raise your home's vibration. I called it the High Vibe Home Checklist. And if you go onto my website and sign up for the free gift that I have for you, which is the shadow work, which we're going to talk about in a minute, then once you sign up for that, you get an invite into my Inspiration Hub, which is where all my free stuff goes to live on and inspire people. So all my free stuff, there's other checklists, there's a bundle in there, and there's a bunch of other stuff like meditations and things. It's not huge, but it's growing and you will have access to that. So your home vibrates, just like everything on earth vibrates. The chair you're sitting in, it vibrates. Everything here vibrates. Remember when I said that we can measure your vibration? So when your vibration is low, you feel low, right? And things don't work as well. So I'm sure you can imagine how impactful your home is to your energy system. What is also interesting is that residual energy built up in your home. So if you've been fighting a lot with your partner, you're just having a having a bad month, that energy is still lingering. If even if your kids have just it's been an off week, that energy still lingers, right? That energy is still creeping around people. And it's just that it's hanging out, right, everywhere. It does sometimes tend to disperse also into the corners of the house. I like to joke around, it's like wherever those where fur balls go, right? Where if you have pets, you have fur balls or dust balls. Energy tends to find itself into corners. And so that's definitely a place you want to pay a lot of attention to when you're clearing. That's where the energy can be the most dense. So conversely, just to kind of give both sides here, if you had a party and everybody is super happy and elated and the energy is high vibe, that's also awesome for your home, right? Just things to consider. So I'm a big fan of the clean and clear approach. So cleaning and decluttering your home before you clear it would be amazing. Getting rid of old trinkets and decor that just you really just crap that you keep around the house that it just isn't for you anymore or has somehow got shoved in a corner. I have these little cubbies in my kitchen. There's like 6 of them. And it's the catch-all. It's where everybody throws something, if you just throw crap in there and then the next thing you know, it's like, overflowing and now it's all over the counter. Those are the places where you can just really, if you can clear out empty space and have more empty space, consider opening the windows and having lots more fresh air coming in, especially before you clear the house. And, I talk about things in the list too that collect dust is kind of important. If you've got like an old picture or painting that you never actually hung up on the wall, I don't know if you're that person, but I am. I literally have like some artwork that's like sitting on the floor, leaned up against the wall in my office right now, and it hasn't been hung for 6 months. That's the stuff we need to put away. That should be gazed at and appreciated and loved. And if the things in your house aren't loved and appreciated, then, that's not a high vibe. It's not a vibrational thing in the house that you're going to reflect that vibration back to you to help you feel better in your home. So I also mentioned things like putting essential oils and which ones to use in order to wash the floors or the counters, things that raise the vibration of your home, different particular plant oils. I know you probably are familiar with clearing negative energy with smudging or medicinal smoke. It is also incredible. Smudging has antiseptic and antibacterial properties, okay? It's been used for ages to clear energy. And so doing it in your home is another way of moving that all around, and the clearing efforts can really make your home feel more comfortable. And if you're into this as well, that in case you're curious about entities and such, most of the ones you may be uneasy with are low vibration. Grandma hanging around doesn't feel so bad, right? If she loved you, you loved her, she's around. But it's the low vibrational folks or the low vibrational entities that hang around if you feel like your house is haunted. The clearing effects can actually be quite uncomfortable for the lower, denser energies to hang around. They don't like it. And so a lot of them, you can rid them that way. Strange enough, having them around can drain you without you even knowing it, by the way. But if you've got some tricky stuff going on in your house, I just want to say to you, as like a CYA thing here, right? That if you have some tricky stuff happening in your house that you believe is entity based, I would recommend bringing in somebody who is experienced in doing this work because you don't want to mess with it if it's not something that you're used to. Okay, moving on. I do recommend singing bowls too, just by the way. Anything you can do to raise energy with sound can be a game changer. I mean, you go around with a bowl in every corner of your house and just around your house, smudge it, clear the stuff. But the list goes way beyond that. It really does. It gives you a lot more information on different possibilities to just be intentional about the love and even the mantras you can bring into your home. So that is a big one. And the next one is, I think, kind of the most important, really. And this is where we get deep. And this is where we are deep, right? We don't like being on the surface. We don't live on the surface. We are deep seekers. And so it's really important that you start to identify right now. I'm sure you've done it in the past, but right now, what are you here to heal now? Okay. This is the best I've saved here for last, because here's the deal. If you don't know what you are here to heal, life will keep trying to teach you. Seriously, I'm going to say it again. If you don't know what you are here to heal, life will keep trying to teach you. And because you're an imperfect human, even once you have the memorable aha moment, which you probably had like 6 months ago, of deep wisdom, you will forget it. And life will need to remind you, right? You'll get busy. And then whether that's through illness, heartache, insane cosmic reoccurrence, what's that? Another toxic relationship? You get the drift, right? So perhaps you keep asking, why do I keep attracting the same damn thing? Well, you're just not done yet. You haven't healed something in there. You haven't really changed it yet. And so for something to stop, and to attract something different, you have to heal it. This is the work that I love to do, right? So this is the work you can even start to do with the free gift that I gave you guys, the freebie that I put on my website, and that's the Shadow Work Bundle. If you haven't already, you can also go back and listen to episode 1 on shadow work. It can be really helpful in just giving you a new way to think about what it is that you need to heal and what's ready to be healed. I'll put those in the show notes so you have access to them. So as an empath, there's this other part of doing this work. And it felt right to mention it here before we end. I wanted to mention to you that being an empath, you're meant to be a healing force in the world. So many of us are caught up in the deep, hard parts, and we swim in overwhelm, right? So I want to be clear here. Being an empath is a gift. It makes you a badass. You are a powerful soul with a mission on this earth. You're a seeker. And there can be this kind of, as you start to do the work here and really figure out what you're here to heal, and you start doing that work, there can sometimes be a side effect that doesn't have to be seen as negative or sad. If you can really be open to embracing whatever is a byproduct of your healing is exactly what needs to happen. You can understand that when you go deeper, right? When you make these huge changes of healing yourself, I mean, you're a seeker. Probably can't even stand small talk in large doses. You need to go in deeper and understand what you feel and what is true. But the more you recognize this and raise your vibration, the more difficult it is to tolerate the relationships and the people around you that live on the surface, as I say, right? It is sometimes a sad truth. When you vibrate higher and dive into your mission, others tend to vibrate out of your life. Sometimes it's really shitty how it happens, but you don't have to perceive it that way. Okay, you can trust that it's in the highest good for everybody, and that you can honor that every person that's been in your life is there for whatever time period they're there, has been there with a meaning. It's been meaningful to have this person in your life. And so as we vibrate higher and others vibrate out, we kind of need to lean into that trusting and learning to let go. And as an empath, sometimes that's the lessons we need to learn to let go. It's as important to learn to let go that it is also to know when to grab on. And this process is not about burning bridges, but you do get to learn. And part of being an empath and opening up that 6th chakra when we do the work and getting into our intuition and really sitting in the wisdom and being open to it, you get to see people in their totality, right? Not just your response to them or your reaction to them, but just their wholeness. And you see their humanity. And you learn to forgive and send them off with your blessing. And as an empath, some part of your healing is to use your gifts to have the wisdom of seeing and feeling someone's humanity without taking it personally. And man, is that hard. That is hard. And I mean, it's a constant lesson for all of us. But understanding we are on a difficult journey, and sometimes it's incredible and beautiful and amazing, and sometimes it's really hard because we're kind of awakening and we're seeing it all. So learning what you need to heal for yourself can be trickier than knowing intuitively what someone else needs to heal, right? So it's way easier for me to tell you what's wrong with you than it is for me to figure out what's wrong with me. But I do believe that understanding what it is that you are here to heal is your life purpose. And you're going to do it over and over again. Right? We take our interests, our gifts, our careers, our relationships, and we share our healing through that. I mean, I just like to tell everybody, sometimes the best healer was the woman at the bank, right? Who just she said something to you and you just felt through your body like, oh, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. Healers show up everywhere. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a hands-on healer to be considered as an empath. You are a healer, right? It's part of how you're showing up in your world, how you're showing up in whatever it is that you're doing. But it is so important to us to understand the work that we're here to do. Without clear direction of the work, I don't know about you, but kind of feel like a pinball in the machine reacting to all the stimulus that pushes us around. We don't feel great being aimless. We are seekers, remember? So it's really important that we kind of get intentional and stop being aimless, because it really is in our best interest to be kind of fulfilling our potential. So I implore you to do that process, start that process, get into the work, find someone to share it with, to talk to. And I wish you all the best in that. And I hope this was helpful today. I think that when you start doing the energy management, you start employing some of these things and shifting and changing, I think you're going to find that you are getting back to your light. So I'm wishing you all the love and light on your journey forward, my friend. And I hope this was helpful. I'm so blessed to be along the ride with you. Thank you for listening to Into the Work Therapy for Empaths and Seekers. Don't forget to grab your free gift, your Shadow Work Transformation Bundle at michellepoverman.com. I've included everything you need to get started to break through the patterns of self-sabotage and finally start to heal the parts of yourself that are getting in the way of truly reaching your potential. From a powerful meditation designed to help you meet and embrace your shadow self, to the guide that's full of curated prompts and important questions to support you on this journey. This really can be the work for you to unmask the root cause of all the issues you've been experiencing, honestly, and start to feel free to believe in yourself and go for what you want. The link for this free bundle is in the show notes. And if you like this episode, I would be so grateful if you could take a moment and rate, click and follow, and leave a review. Of course, you can always follow me on socials at Michelle Poverman. And keep in mind, as you embark on your journey from spark to brilliance, remember, the universe is always conspiring in favor of your awakening. Everything that's happening is in support of you lighting your own fire within. So until we meet again, may your path be well lit and your heart be guided. Shine bright, seekers. Until next time.